Sir Alex Ferguson's lesson. How Amorim must respond after Everton defeat. Welcome to United News, where we bring you honest analysis when Manchester United win and when they lose. Last night was difficult for every Red Devils supporter. The 1-0 defeat to 10-man Everton at Old Trafford was hard to watch and even harder to accept. But this is when United need their community most, and that is exactly what we are here for. Stay with us as we break down what happened, what it means, and most importantly, what comes next. The result that nobody saw coming. How do you lose at home to a team playing with 10 men for more than 75 minutes? That is the question every Manchester United fan was asking themselves as they left Old Trafford on Monday night. The match started with promise. United were playing at home. The crowd was ready to get behind the team. Ruben Amorim's side had been on a good run, winning 3 matches in a row before 2 draws. Everything pointed toward another home victory. Then Everton had Idrissa Gueye sent off in the 13th minute. The midfielder slapped his own teammate Michael Keane after a misplaced pass that gave Bruno Fernandes a chance. A red card. Against 10 men for more than 75 minutes. At Old Trafford. Surely this would be straightforward for United. But football does not work like that. Despite having the extra man, despite playing at home, despite all the pressure and possession, United could not break down Everton's defense. Instead, it was the visitors who scored through Kiernan Dewsbury Hall and held on for a famous 1-0 victory. This was Everton's first win at Old Trafford since December 2013. More than 11 years of waiting. And they did it with 10 men for most of the match. For United fans, this was not just a defeat. It was a deeply frustrating and disappointing performance. The boos tell the story. At halftime, United were booed off the pitch by their own supporters. This does not happen often at Old Trafford, but when it does, it means the fans are truly unhappy with what they are seeing. The boos were not about the score necessarily. They were about the performance. They were about watching United struggle to create clear chances against 10 men. They were about seeing the same problems that have plagued the team for months and years. For Ruben Amorim, this was a wake-up call. The Portuguese manager had enjoyed a good start to his United career. 3 wins in a row had eased some of the pressure. 2 draws were acceptable given the opponents. But this defeat brought all the concerns flooding back. After the match, you could see the worry in Amorim's face and hear it in his words. This was not just about one bad result. This was about the fear that United might slip back into the terrible form of last season. What Amorim said after the match. The United manager did not hide from the reality of the situation. In his post-match interview, Amorim was honest and direct about where his team stands. We are not there, not even near the point that we should be to fight for the best positions in the league, Amorim admitted. These 5 weeks everyone is praising our evolution. I'm always saying the same things. We are not even near what the moment we're supposed to be in this club. This is refreshing honesty from a manager. Amorim is not making excuses. He is not blaming the referees or bad luck. He is simply stating that Manchester United are not good enough right now to compete where they should be competing. But the most concerning comment came next. I feel afraid of returning to this feeling of last season. That is my biggest concern. Think about that for a moment. Last season, Manchester United finished in 15th place in the Premier League. They suffered 18 defeats. It was one of the worst campaigns in the club's modern history. And now, just a few months later, the new manager is already worried about falling back into that same pattern. This shows how serious the problems are at United. This is not just about tactics or formations or individual mistakes. This is about a culture and mentality that needs to change completely. The Gueye incident, a lesson in fighting spirit. Interestingly, Amorim brought up the incident that led to Gueye's red card. The Everton midfielder slapped his teammate Keane after a mistake, and while this earned him a sending off, Amorim saw something in that moment that he wants from his own players. Fighting is not a bad thing, Amorim said. Fighting doesn't mean that they don't like each other. Fighting is that you lose the ball, I will fight you because we will suffer a goal. That was my feeling when I watched. He continued, I hope my players, when they lose the ball, they fight each other. That is a good feeling, Not a bad feeling. This is fascinating. Obviously, Amorim does not want his players slapping each other and getting sent off. But he admires the intensity and the desperation to not concede. He wants to see that kind of passion from his United players. Right now, United are playing with too much politeness. They are not showing enough urgency. They are not demanding more from each other. And that lack of intensity is costing them matches. What Sir Alex Ferguson would do. This is where we can look to Manchester United's greatest ever manager for guidance. Sir Alex Ferguson faced countless defeats during his 26 years at Old Trafford. Nobody wins every match, not even the best managers in history. But what made Ferguson special was not that he never lost. It was how he responded to losses. In an old interview with Jim White for Sky Sports, Ferguson explained his philosophy about dealing with defeat. "Defeat happens," Ferguson said. "I can accept defeat, no bother. No problem for me. Maybe when I was very young I found it difficult. But you have the dignity to eventually be able to accept defeat and be a good loser. But that doesn't mean to say you don't forget it." This is the key point. Ferguson accepted that losses happen, but he never forgot them. He used them as motivation. He let them fuel his determination to make sure it did not happen again. "My purpose after that was to make sure it never happened again," Ferguson continued. "I just hated losing that way. I would tell my players at the end of the game in no uncertain terms and would always try to find the reason why we lost." Ferguson was honest with his players. He did not sugarcoat things. He did not pretend everything was fine when it was not. He told them exactly what they did wrong and why they lost. But here is the most important part. "But the next match was another world, and I made sure I was going to win that next match. That purpose and determination is something that's in you. It's either there or not." Ferguson did not dwell on losses for too long. He analyzed them, learned from them, and then moved on. The next match was a chance to put things right. The next match was an opportunity to show that the team had learned their lessons. This is exactly what Ruben Amorim needs to do now. The path forward for Amorim. Amorim now faces his first real crisis as Manchester United manager. The good feeling from the 3 wins in a row has evaporated. The pressure is back. The doubts are creeping in. This is when his character and his management skills will be truly tested. Following Ferguson's example, Amorim needs to do several things in the coming days. First, he needs to be brutally honest with his players. They need to hear exactly what they did wrong against Everton. No excuses. No gentle criticism. They need to understand that losing at home to 10 men is completely unacceptable at Manchester United. Second, he needs to identify the specific problems that caused the defeat. Was it the tactics? Was it the lack of creativity? Was it poor decision-making in the final third? Whatever the issues were, they need to be addressed directly. Third, and most importantly, he needs to move on quickly. United have another match on Sunday against Crystal Palace. That is only 6 days away. There is no time to feel sorry for themselves. The focus must shift immediately to winning that next match. This is where great managers separate themselves from average ones. Average managers let one bad result become 2, then 3, then a terrible run of form. Great managers stop the rot immediately. They refuse to let one defeat become a pattern. The reality check United needed. As painful as Monday's defeat was, maybe United needed this reality check. The 3 wins in a row had created a false sense of progress. Yes, beating Liverpool at Anfield was wonderful. Yes, winning at home against Brighton and Sunderland was positive. But those results masked some ongoing problems. United are still not creating enough clear chances. They are still struggling to break down organized defenses. They are still making individual mistakes that cost them goals. And most concerning of all, they are still lacking the intensity and desperation that top teams show every single week. Amorim has been saying this all along. Even during the winning run, he kept insisting that United were not where they needed to be. Now the evidence has proven him right. United are in 10th place in the Premier League with 12 games played. They are 3 points off the top 4, but they are also closer to the relegation zone than they are to the league leaders. This is not where Manchester United should be. This is not good enough for a club of this size and history, and this defeat to Everton has made that crystal clear. What the numbers tell us. Let us look at the cold, hard facts. Manchester United have now lost 4 matches in the Premier League this season. They have suffered 2 defeats at Old Trafford, which is particularly worrying. Home form is supposed to be your foundation, but United are not even getting that right. More concerning is the pattern. United have now lost 22 Premier League matches since the start of last season. That is an average of almost 1 loss every 2 games. For a club that used to dominate English football, these numbers are shocking. The 10th place position is also embarrassing. After 12 games, United should be competing for European places at minimum. Instead, they are in mid-table mediocrity, closer to the bottom than the top. Even worse, this was United's first defeat to Everton at Old Trafford in over 11 years. That is how rare it used to be for United to lose these kinds of matches at home. Now it is happening, and happening to a team that played with 10 men for most of the game. The fixture congestion ahead. The timing of this defeat makes it even more challenging because United have a tough run of fixtures coming up. They travel to Crystal Palace on Sunday, which is never an easy match. Palace at Selhurst Park can be a hostile atmosphere and a difficult place to get results. Then, just 4 days later on Thursday night, United have to travel to West Ham. 2 away games in London within 4 days. This is the kind of fixture congestion that can either make or break a season. If United lose to Palace on Sunday, the pressure will become intense. 2 defeats in a row would have everyone questioning whether Amorim is the right man for the job. The media will start writing negative stories. The fans will start getting more frustrated. But if United can bounce back and beat Palace, it shows resilience. It shows character. It shows that they have learned from the Everton defeat and are determined not to let it happen again. This is exactly the situation Ferguson was talking about. The next match becomes the most important match. Everything depends on how United respond. What United fans should expect. If you are a Manchester United supporter reading this, you probably feel frustrated and disappointed right now. That is completely understandable. Monday's performance was not good enough, and the result was unacceptable. But here is what you should expect from Amorim and the team going forward. Expect honesty. Amorim has shown he will not hide from problems or make excuses. He will tell the truth about where United are and what needs to improve. Expect changes. Amorim will not keep doing the same things if they are not working. He will adjust his tactics, he will try different players, and he will keep searching for solutions. Expect intensity. After what Amorim said about the gay incident, expect him to demand more passion and fight from his players. The days of playing with no urgency need to end. Expect ups and downs. This is a rebuilding process. There will be good days and bad days. The key is that the general trend needs to be upward, even if there are setbacks along the way. Most importantly, expect the team to respond on Sunday against Crystal Palace. This is the test. This is where we find out what this team is made of. Can they bounce back immediately like Ferguson's teams used to do? Or will they let 1 defeat become 2? The bigger picture question. Beyond the immediate fixtures, there is a bigger question hanging over Manchester United. Can this squad actually compete for the top for this season? Right now, the honest answer is probably not. United are 3 points behind 4th place, but that gap could easily grow if they do not start winning consistently. And based on what we have seen so far this season, consistent winning seems difficult for this team. The squad has obvious weaknesses. The attacking options are limited, especially with injuries to Sesko and Cunha. The defense makes too many mistakes. The midfield lacks the dynamism to control games against quality opposition. Amorim inherited these problems. He did not create them, but he is responsible for fixing them, or at least starting the process of fixing them. That takes time, patience, and probably some new signings in January. The worry is whether the club has the patience to give Amorim that time. If results do not improve quickly, the pressure will mount. United fans are desperate for success, and they do not want to hear about long-term projects anymore. This is the challenge Amorim faces. He needs time to build something sustainable, but he also needs results immediately. Finding that balance is incredibly difficult. Learning from history. Manchester United's greatest periods of success under Ferguson did not happen overnight. When Ferguson arrived in 1986, it took him several years to build a title-winning team. There were difficult moments, bad results, and plenty of criticism along the way. But Ferguson had a clear vision of what he wanted to build, and he stuck to that vision even when things got tough. He made tough decisions. He got rid of players who did not fit his culture. He brought in players who had the right mentality. And eventually, it all came together. Amorim needs to follow that same path. He has his own vision for how United should play. He has his own ideas about the mentality and culture he wants to create. Now he needs the time and support to make it happen. The Everton defeat was a setback, but it does not have to be a disaster. How Amorim responds to this defeat will tell us a lot about whether he has what it takes to succeed at Manchester United. What happens next? The next few days will be crucial for Amorim and his team. Training sessions this week will be intense. The manager will be demanding more from his players. The players will be working hard to put things right. Amorim will also be studying Crystal Palace carefully. What are their weaknesses? How can United exploit them? What lineup and tactics give United the best chance of winning? These are the questions he will be asking himself. There might be changes to the starting 11. Players who disappointed against Everton might find themselves dropped. Others who have been waiting for chances might get opportunities. Amorim will not hesitate to make tough decisions if he thinks they will help the team win. The press conference before the Palace match will be interesting. What will Amorim say? Will he show anger about the Everton defeat? Will he try to protect his players? Will he send a message about what he expects going forward? Every word will be analyzed by fans and media. And then Sunday comes. Crystal Palace away. This is where United must respond. This is where they must show that the Everton defeat was a one-off mistake, not the start of another terrible run. Final thoughts from United News. Monday night was difficult for every Manchester United supporter. Losing at home to 10-man Everton is the kind of result that stays with you and frustrates you for days afterward. But this is not the time to panic. This is not the time to give up on Ruben Amorim or write off the season. This is the time to show some resilience and faith that things can improve. Sir Alex Ferguson's words about bouncing back from defeat should inspire both the manager and the players. Accept the loss, learn from it, but then move on quickly and win the next match. That is the mentality United need to rediscover. The fixture against Crystal Palace on Sunday is massive. Not because it is a must-win game that will decide the season, but because it will show us what this team is made of. Can they respond to adversity? Do they have the character to bounce back immediately? Or will they fold under pressure? Here at United News, we will be with you every step of the way. We will bring you all the build-up to the Palace match. We will cover the game itself with honest analysis. And we will continue to provide the reliable, trustworthy coverage that you have come to expect from us. Thank you for staying with United News during the difficult times as well as the good times. That is what real supporters do. That is what real community means. We are all in this together. Stay tuned for all the latest updates, team news, and analysis. And on Sunday, let us hope we see a Manchester United team that has learned its lessons and is ready to fight. Come on, United!